Hi guys. So this is Shweta here, Vani if you're nasty. About to make another video about baby steps into the yogic life. This is probably my fourth episode, but I'll be kind of making this one a little more public because I do believe that this is something that must be spoken about. Since it was going to be the next topic anyway, but it's a very I wouldn't say fortunate, but it just happens to be a very apt time for me to speak about this very topic. So, today we were going to tackle this topic of ahimsa. There is so much talk, as there should be, all over the world about the troubled times that we are actually living in as of now, with not only the shellings and the missiles that are flying between India and Pakistan right now, but also because of the trade wars that are happening in the US and China. And it's just basically a very, very difficult and violent time that we are all living in. And I understand how it is very, very normal and it's a very scary time. So it's very, very normal to be afraid right now. And I just hope that all of us band together and don't let fear win. And remember that we are all human beings that just want to all live at peace. And as an Indian, I do believe that one of our most important give offerings to the world is an understanding of peace that the Vedas and our Shastras have blessed us with. So I have been practicing yoga for the past 6 years. For the new people who are joining us in this episode today, I have been practicing yoga for a pretty long time as of now. But I have gotten a little bit deeper into the practice of yoga. Um, in terms of meditation and a little bit more on the spiritual learnings and the material and the knowledge that we have on that side under the tutelage of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. So I have come across like such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all of these things, and as I interpret them and incorporate them into my life, I think that it's such a nice thing to involve other people in and discuss this knowledge freely with everybody because the Vedas are not this thing, they do not belong to a religion. Even Charvak, who is an atheist, would be considered a Vedic scholar. So it has nothing to do with religion. In fact, Vedas literally would translate into a science, like Ayurveda is the science of life or living. So, yeah, so which is why I think that this wealth of knowledge that is so invaluable, this thing to everybody, and which is gaining more and more traction as we go further and further. We would think actually as we go further that we would actually discover new things, but as we go forward in our life, we are discussing the value of our ancient knowledge, which is such a beautiful thing, right? Because sometimes knowledge is eternal, like the truth is eternal, and satyameva jayate. So, well, the truth will always win. So, yeah, why I wanted to get into discussing this today, or the Vedas or Vedic knowledge, is because I have actually been sharing some of the wisdom that I have received and my interpretation of it, and this is making it like a public wealth, right? Because it shouldn't be just gate kept. So, yeah. And also because I love to hear other people's interpretation of it or other people's thoughts on the same things, and it's fun, no? So, yeah, I kind of, as lightly as possible, wanted to approach, especially because of the context, wanted to approach the topic of ahimsa. So, ahimsa is something that we are so privy to because because of vegetarianism, because of compassion, because of so many things being such common things that we practice this thing among us. In fact, I would think that um, Indians have the gift of this thing, tolerance and patience and non-violence a bit too much. In fact, it has become almost passive, which I will get into a little bit later about why passivity is not just a practice in peace, but it is a practice of weakness. So yeah, I would kind of get into that a little bit later into the video. So moving on, as I say that, it is time for me to get into the actual topic at hand, where I was actually anyway going to get into the yamas and niyamas of yoga or yogis, right? So basically, what yamas and niyamas mean, yamas are basically codes of conduct that a yogi would be advised to follow in when it comes to their relation to others, right? And niyamas are rules to follow or a conduct to keep in mind when they are dealing with themselves. So, an outward conduct and an inward conduct, right? So, I hope that makes sense. So, the first yama, okay, of a yogi is ahimsa. Which is why I thought that this is a very, very interesting time to actually put this video up, because as of 9th of May 2025, which is today, there have been shellings and missile attacks that have been happening on the border of India and Pakistan as a retaliation of the atrocities that were conducted by terrorists in Pahalgam on the 22nd of April 2025. So this is just a little bit of context, very, very neutrally, that I have just put forth in front of you. I'm not going to really talk about my opinions on what exactly should happen when it comes to war, because it is not a subject that one must take lightly. War is something that affects not only an entire country, but families, people who are actually fighting the wars. And I don't think that me sitting in my comfortable little house over here should have too much of an opinion that I stand very firmly behind, over here, which I tend to propagate to everybody. I can, but I choose not to. Okay. What I can tell you all is about what I have learned about what ahimsa means. Ahimsa in itself means non-violence, right? So when it comes to non-violence and the way the yogis or the old shastras would write about it, is that ahimsa means non-violence not only of your actions but also your words and your thoughts. Okay, so for example, if you are not physically slapping somebody, but in your words are calling them names that really, really hurt their heart, is ahimsa. Is still hinsak, is still violent. Okay, or if you have very bad thoughts for somebody, like, oh, I hope this person trips or stubs their toe today, or I hope this person goes through something really bad in their life because they did something bad to me. That is also a violent thought. Okay, so we as followers of yoga, side note, yoga does not mean like a physical exercise. Yoga literally just means to be in union, and a yogi is somebody who practices the art of aligning with their mind and with their soul, right? So not a very easy thing to do, which is why I won't say somebody who's in alignment as a yogi, but somebody who practices or attempts to be in alignment is a yogi, right? Or somebody who actually gives this a lot of weightage in their life is a yogi. Okay, I think. So anyway, so ahimsa is something that a yogi must follow, because when you are unaligned, meaning if you are having like a bad thought or a negative thought or a violent thought for anybody, more than usual, you usually end up making wrong decisions. For example, if somebody this thing really, really angers you, if you take a decision in that state of mind, it is usually more often than not a wrong decision, because you are not centered. at that point in time. And being a yogi is just basically trying to be an efficient person functioning at their highest potential. So this is why one must avoid being a violent person with violent thoughts, violent emotions, violent words, violent ways of being. Okay, because usually you are not only causing something that will come back and bite you later on in life, but you are also causing a ruckus around you, which basically gets in the way of other people's efficiency as well. um, a person can only be at peace if their surrounding is also at peace. So, in the interest of your own peace, you must also be a peaceful human to other people in your surrounding, right? So that is one. Uh, the second thing about ahimsa is that I would like to talk about passive ahimsa. Okay, so if somebody is doing something wrong over there, and it is not you, right? It's somebody else is doing wrong, okay, in your presence, and you have the power to stop it. You doing nothing or you being passive about it also is not ahimsa. This is you unwittingly supporting himsa, meaning you are unwittingly supporting violence because you are doing nothing to stop it. Okay, so in this matter, suppose there is a bully who is 5 times a person's size, and he is smacking this person just because he is, say, he was on a bicycle and he got in the way and this car wanted to move this way. So he got out, and this powerful man is trying to slap this man on a bicycle. You, as a bystander, as somebody who can be like, hey, please stop, don't hit that man, you can talk to him, but I will not allow you to hit this man in my presence. Okay? That is you actually protecting the peace. So, peace is just not something which is very, very passive. Actually, peace is something that must be protected. So, if there is a person who is causing a ruckus in your neighborhood, you actually banding together or doing your bit to stop that is actually you contributing to the peace of the society. You are actually practicing ahimsa by stopping violence. So I would just like this to sink in your mind when you think about people's doing their bit when it comes to terrorist organizations, right? So even in India, okay, there have been nihilists, there have been people who are insurgents, there have been this thing, people who go against the government and try to gain weapons and all of those kind of things. But our government does things to stop these things in the bud. And these people do not go to other countries and cause a ruckus there. Okay? So our government tries to do its bit in trying to stop such people. I wonder why other governments, if it is not a part of their country's rhetoric or their country's ideals, then why do they not do their bit to stop them? Because that would be them doing the right thing, practicing ahimsa. If they don't want a problem with their neighbors, if they don't want to create an issue, then why aren't they stopping the issue? Right? So, this is the one thing that I would like to talk about when it comes to ahimsa. And ahimsa is supposed to be parmo dharma. Parmo dharma meaning the most important dharma or the most righteous thing to follow, where you not only it is not something that is so passive, like, where you are, oh, you're peaceful and you will not hurt anybody, but where you are an active participant in making sure that the peace is maintained in the society that you love, because that is what love is, that is what community is, that is what being involved is. If I don't care what happens to my neighbors, then I'm sorry, I am not somebody who is a practitioner of love. If I don't care about what happens to my country, I am not somebody who's a practitioner of love. I am not, as we call it, peaceful. If I don't care that terrorists go on with their with their extremist agendas. And if I don't support the powers that are trying to stop them, because they must be stopped. Extremism is himsa, and any kind of extremism, whether it is on their side or it is on their side, anywhere in the world, must be nipped in the bud. This is my 2 cents of the matter, and this is a little lesson in ahimsa. Thanks. I'll see you next time.